Hey everybody, it's Bruno from MB, and we're at All Can't Be Serious. We're just waiting for Joe. Oh, there he is. Joe from Turnkey Home Renovations. We're going to be talking about large-scale renovations, talking about that. We're on site. So, hey Joe.
Bruno.
Nice to see you.
How's it going?
Oh my gosh. Just flew in the nick of time. I was doing some practicing, but since we're on site, why don't we talk about, seriously, what do we talk about large-scale renovations? Because some people have smaller scale, we're talking big scale. So what would you consider for turnkey a large-scale renovation?
A large-scale renovation would be anything, let's say, $65,000, $75,000 and over.
Okay. So that's basically nowadays just a square meter of cement, a piece of plywood.
Well,
that's crazy.
Luckily, wood's going down, but definitely our material costs have skyrocketed in the last year.
Yeah, it's been crazy. How's that kind of affected some of the renovation costs? I guess I know they're higher, but in terms of costs and timing, so the time has been.
I think material costs for a lot of them have gone up by around 30% or so.
Yeah, so you're seeing a little bit of a stabilizing factor right now.
Well, just now we're seeing the lumber prices coming down on the commodity, but yeah, so it'll trickle down to the big stores soon.
Yeah, because on a small scale renovation, it's not a big deal, really. I mean, small scale, but when you're talking like full-on renovation. So let's talk about, one of the things we talked about before was picking a contractor, financing and everything like that. When you get to the large scale, you really have to pay attention to your objectives and your kind of steps in the process, because it can get out of hand. So where do you want to start? The objectives? I mean, when somebody comes and meets with you and your team, there's got to be some objectives that they need to be discussing with us.
Yeah, so I think with your larger scale renovations, we always preach plan, and do some more planning. So if you've got a renovation project where it's 4 to 6 months in length, then you need to spend at least 2 to 3 months in the planning stage.
Okay, so we got planning, and I understand that through our conversations, you actually just don't dabble in this stuff, obviously. Been in business for how many years?
14 years now.
14 years, started when you were 12. Unbelievable. You look like you're 25 years old. But you definitely have a very specific step-by-step process for you to get the big renovations done, right?
Yeah. I think with the larger scale renovations, I mean, for them to be successful, the better plan you have, the better process you have, the more successful the renovation project will be.
Right. So walk us through some of your steps in the process that make people aware of what they should be expecting.
So I think for us, like we have a planning process, and ours specifically is called a preliminary scope contract.
Okay.
And what that does is it ensures that our clients' projects run as smoothly as possible. And our team has 3 objectives when it comes to our process.
Okay.
So our first one is we want to identify our clients' expectations. We want to build a budget, an accurate budget for the project.
Okay.
And then we also want to minimize cost surprises, which can creep up in these larger scale renovations.
And how does your process fit into those objectives? Like, so those are the objectives that you want. And I keep talking about this process thing because one of the things, the nightmares that we hear, and I'm sure you've heard way more because you've been in business so long, is people go, yeah, don't worry, we've got it covered, but they actually don't tell you what they're doing to cover it. They kind of wing it.
Yeah, so like with our process, so with our preliminary scope contract, we have 6 steps. Okay, so the first one would be, if the house is older than 1994, we're going to do an asbestos assessment on it. If we're adding in new windows or modifying walls in the structure, or additions, obviously, you're going to need structural engineering. So that's the second step.
And you guys do that too, right?
Yeah.
You provide that. Okay,
you
great.
Bet. Yeah, this is part of our contract.
Excellent.
So our preliminary contract. And then the third one would be our design and drawings. Third one, our designer would also help the client with their material selections. Then we would arrange for a trade walkthrough on site. And then once we have all that information, I can turn around and give the client a fixed price contract.
Got it. Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to give a contract if you find out it's pre-1994 and it's asbestos or something like that. I mean,
well, that's part of our objectives, right? Minimize costs, build an accurate budget. And the only way to do that is to do a little bit of work ahead of time. So if a client has a $200,000 renovation, you know, they have to put some money at the beginning. They have to spend a little bit, but that alleviates so many headaches in the end.
Yeah, can you imagine? Oh, I can imagine. You see this all the time. Well, not, you know, is that you kind of go, it's a small bathroom renovation and the second floor and this and that and the other thing, and it's on the second floor, and all of a sudden you find out A, it's asbestos, B, you know, the beam is rotted or something like that because, you know, the piping or something. And all of a sudden that $10,000 renovation turns out to be $100,000, and it's a nightmare.
It could blow the lid off the project and make for a really bad experience for the client.
So I know this is a tough question for you to answer, but if somebody follows your process and meets the objectives, you get it signed off and say it's a, you know, $200,000 renovation, right? Which is, you know, a sizable renovation, I guess, right? What kind of timing are they looking at?
For the full project?
Yeah.
Well, it all depends.
Right.
But large scale renovations are usually 4 to 6 months.
Right, okay.
Right? I mean, we can build the house in 8 months.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you have to gut a house and redo the layout, it almost takes longer than building a new structure.
Yeah, that sounds good. I guess what percentage of your business is, you know, under 100,000 and the other one's over 100,000? I guess.
I'd say most of ours is over 100, but you know, a lot of them are still like in that 50, 75 range as well.
And it kind of really doesn't matter what the renovations are. Part of that process still applies. Maybe you don't need the structural engineer. Maybe you don't need the asbestos testing if it's, you know, one room or something. But typically you get the full meal deal anyways, right?
Yeah, I think, you know, it depends on what's needed in the project. So, you know, our preliminary scope contract is great because it's actually separate from the large project.
Right, right.
So clients can use us to figure out all this critical information, right? And then at the end they have a nice little package that they can use to actually get other people to bid on.
You know what's really, you know, just hit me is that if I'm selling the house, you know, I see so many real estate listings out there, and they're recently renovated. I'm like, okay, you go and you look at it, and it says, you know, it increased the price by X amount of thousands of dollars, right? Wouldn't it be great? I said, recently renovated. Here's the binder with structural engineering, the asbestos testing, this, and this, and all the 6 steps that you have. I mean, that is worth way more than just saying, yeah, I got this thing renovated, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point you made, because
I won't charge you for that one. Bambino, don't charge him for that one, but the next one.
But yeah, so basically at the end of these larger projects, this is the information that we have in a nice package to give to the client.
Yeah, well, I mean, and even for the bank, you know, if you go out there and renovate and then refinance it or use it as a second home to rent or something like that, how can they say no to that report, really?
Well, so they know it's been done right.
That's right. And let's talk about the warranty really quick in the 6-step process and the objectives. You give what kind of warranty for that?
So we have a 5-year warranty right now on our workmanship. We're actually in the process as well to get our third-party coverage.
Okay.
So what that means is that our warranty actually has some backing, right? It has teeth for the client, it protects the client more. So that can be with house builds and for larger scale renovations. There's a third party involved that would back us up if something goes wrong.
That's awesome. You know, we didn't meet that long ago, but it's pretty funny. It's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's how you know them. And you know, everybody tells me that you're super committed to what you're doing. Like, you love what you do, you're committed to doing it, and it shows with all the warranty and the backups that you're doing. So congratulations on all that stuff. One-step process. This is one step to get in touch with Joe is you click down here on one of the links and
check out our website at turnkey-renovations.ca, and alternative you can call our office at 403-685-2488.
All right, we got a couple other ones happening, so we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, if you want someone you know to be our next guest, simple. Click below in the description and we'll get in touch with them. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe, and you'll never, ever miss another episode.